Well, pull my cracker. It's the Yankin Off Christmas special.
Jingle my baubles.
Jingle my bells.
Oh, the streamers everywhere.
Can we try and keep this a bit more civilised, people?
Never. When have we ever done that? I'm Dave Griff.
I'm Gary Lee.
I'm Benley.
I'm Kate Yankin Groves.
Oh, the Groving reporter is in the house.
We've talked about you so much and we've never actually seen you in the flesh. Are you real or just purely a hologram?
I've groved all the way here.
I don't even know what that means.
Is that a word?
No.
Right, okay.
No.
Oh, no,
Yes.
I think she's copyrighted it.
Yes. Whatever it is, he said.
It gets you 10 on Scrabble.
Oh, there you go.
It's going in my playbook. That'll do.
So, Christmas, mate.
As usual, a huge
Pardon? Achievement. Got there.
Tree.
thing. What do you call it? Sport. This
Ah!
Christmas. Sport.
I wonder what we're doing here. Well, I am the spirit of NFL.
I am the ghostly presence of the National Basketball League.
And I'm the cold, dead future of ice hockey.
I'm allowed to sound tacky and the angel who holds it together.
Hey,
Oh.
yeah, that's too good.
That's
Get
what
out.
she said.
Yeah.
I do have tarnished wings though.
Oh, don't speak about tarnished rings in here. We're not the most saintly of people as it is. but we'll keep it within sensibility and keep to.
And we all know that there's only one saintly person for us to talk about.
This kid is a
But
Do you know
he's
what?
not
I've been really surprised at him because
This kid is a
he spent most of his time in his derriere, didn't he?
Yeah.
The last few games.
But let's get to the Christmas and New Year games.
Oh.
The BCS Bowl games.
Tell you what, all of the Christmas, all the bowl Christmas and New Year games. I love all of that because you get Christmas spirit, you get all your Christmas prezzies, all your Christmas food, and then there's like tons of stuff left over from Christmas. You just pile it all up at the side of your chair and lock the door and say, "See you in January," and just get that going. Just watch TV because there's so much sport on, it's unreal.
You've obviously got all the associate bowls, but your main ones being the 6 classic BCS games that have taken on extra meaning this year with them being a playoff format. And the way it works this year and going forward is that 2 of those bowl games are going to be semi-final playoff games leading to a championship. The other 4 will be rotating, I suppose, more traditional style pairings. And each year those 2 semi-final games will change. So let's start with the non-semi-final games. You got the Peach Bowl on the 31st of December. TCU versus Ole Miss.
I don't know, TCU, I fancy for that.
Really?
Yeah.
11-1. Ole Miss 9-3.
Yeah, TCU for that.
I don't know. It's
What do you mean you don't know? Look into your crystal bars.
I told you, don't talk about that. I've got the gift receipt. I'm returning that. All right. It wasn't exactly what I wanted. So yeah.
Beat socks.
Well, yeah, look at it, right? You look at the Ole Miss passing record at the moment, and Wallace has passed, 22 touchdowns this season? All I was saying at TCU, Boykin, he's gone for 30, so it's not too bad. It's going to be a day of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I just think the record says it all. I think TCU got more on they're going to take more to the table on that one.
Well, to look at the other bowl games, is it sometimes more exciting to see these with a little bit more of a mixed record than your typical 13-0, 12-1 games?
It's like the international series almost. You want mid-table teams.
To be honest with you, just final standings don't mean anything when it goes into this.
Yeah.
Because any team can perform on the day.
Any given Sunday.
Yeah. Just ask Peyton about how you don't perform on the day.
That's what she said.
More on Peyton. Fiesta Bowl on the same day, New Year's Eve, Arizona versus Boise State.
Hard one. Arizona, I think, for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Again, going off the standings, Arizona 10-3, Boise are 11-2.
I'll fancy Arizona for that.
Again, though, you're looking at Boise there, Hedrick. He's thrown 22 TDs this season, but he's been picked 13 times. You look at the Arizona quarterback there, Solomon. Again, 27 touchdowns to his name, only been picked 7 times. Where he tends to be favouring his receiver there, Wilson, a lot.
I'm
Wilson.
taking my fake beard off. It's doing my hair.
This is the
I'm
most
taking
drama.
this off as well.
Although saying that, not to take anything away from boys,
Or girls, for that matter.
Ajaylo's gone there for 25 touchdowns this season as well. So it'll be interesting to see. I think that's going to be more of a ground game, a more strategical, tactical game rather than a superstar standout game.
Orange Bowl, also on New Year's Eve, is Georgia Tech, Mississippi State.
Oh, no, Georgia Tech. Miss.
Ooh, yeah, I was going to say, I'd be...
Put your hands back on the table, man.
I'm
He's yanking
rubbing my balls.
We need to see
Trying to
your
get-
hands at all times.
Okay, my hands on the table.
I haven't done this since
God, I felt like I was on the street again then. Sorry, officer, I'll put them on the table. Oh,
Don't
no,
talk about that.
By the way, if you hear that crackling, that's just my tag interfering.
What time's your curfew?
Sorry?
What time's your curfew?
Shh. Nothing. I'm gonna call. Yeah, I'd go for Georgia Tech on that purely because I like Georgia Tech.
Looking at the record there again, Prescott, the Miz quarterback, 24 TDs this year, 10 picks on him. Again, favouring his receiver Wilson. Low ground game for Miz the State this year though. They're pulling in 24 TDs from the ground there, going up against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech are only bringing in 13 on the ground. Looking to the air, another 14 there. Thomas, the quarterback there, 17 TDs he's completed this year, only 5 picks. Again, it's going to be an interesting one, probably another technical one for the purists.
Purist.
I appreciate you made that last as long as my Jaffa cake did.
That's what she said!
Every time!
That's what she said! In your head now.
More eggnog, please.
1st of January is the main event games, but they're preceded by the Cotton Bowl, Baylor and Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Right.
Yeah, Wolverine's going to do that.
Looking at the record.
Oh, Spartans, sorry.
Yeah,
Michigan
Michigan Spartans, we're
Yeah.
going to say.
Yeah.
Stats wise, Cook for the Spartans having a really good season, 22 TDs, only 6 picks. Second string in O'Connor as well, getting in there. Looks mostly though like they're going from the air and to put the ball in the end zone there. Unlike Baylor, who are rushing the ball in. Linwood, gone for 16 TDs this year. He's got a total of 1,200 yards, averaging just over 5-6 yards a run. So it's going to be an interesting game there. That'll be down to the Michigan D to shut him down early, otherwise he'll blow it wide open.
Do you want to see me ignorance? Is it the Spartans in a minute?
Yeah, Michigan State Spartans.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought you were the spirit of football.
That's collegiate ball. Collegiate ball. I don't do collegiate.
The big semi-final games again on the 1st of January, starting off with the Sugar Bowl, Alabama
That'll be
and
the top
Ohio State.
I know my brother's personally looking forward to the Alabama game with their record this season.
Bama's record every season, 12-1. They're just such a good team to watch these days, aren't they, Bama?
Bama are
No.
definitely a ground and pound
I'm
team.
not a Bama fan.
Really?
No.
I mean, I'm not a Bama fan, but I do enjoy watching them. You know?
Oh no, most certainly. I mean, again, looking at the stats quickly, 10 apiece TDs there from both the running back, Shield and Henry. Bama putting the ball in the air 14 times for Cooper as well to take it in. Not so much on our the Buckeyes, I should say. Barnett there, their QB. Barrett, sorry. He's been picked 10 times this season, but he has put like 34 TDs in for his receivers and his running backs as well. That's very much a field commander against a strong D there. That's what that's going to be on the day.
And who are you going for?
I'm not.
Oh, fine. Well, we'll just cancel
No,
the
it's
game,
just-
shall we? We'll send everybody home. Sugar Bowl's not
Not
happening.
a sugar bowl. If it was a sweetener bowl, I might be
Oh, here we
I'm
go.
watching my figure get bigger and bigger.
Why did you say that in a Canadian accent? I'm watching my figure eat.
So like I'll have a half regular Coke, half Diet Coke because I'm watching my thing.
I have 6 chicken nuggets, throw 2 of them away, so I can have 4.
You want a 4 nugget piece?
Rose Bowl, the most historic, I suppose. How many
Yeah.
years? About 103 years now, is it? It was the 100th anniversary about a year or so ago.
Yeah.
Oregon, Florida State.
That's a meeting game, that is. Oregon. As much as I know a few Florida State fans, I would like to go for Oregon on that. Purely because, going back to my old football days, I used to get high school teams.
You're right there.
Just thinking about my football career. Anyway, it's bad weather. We used to play Oregon high school teams.
Charge.
That's tickle you know. We got a winner!
What about a chicken dinner? Right, so you haven't fancying Oregon, Dave? Are you fancying on this one?
Ooh, Florida.
Okay, going into this stat wise, Oregon's ground game have put a massive 30 TDs in this year. They're having a stormer. Malotta, the quarterback, 38 himself, he's only been picked twice. He is a
He's
triple.
making these names up, you know.
He's definitely a triple A quarterback there. Only looking at Florida State. Winston there, he's only been able to put 24 TDs in, but he's been picked 17 times.
Just keep talking.
Talk louder while he opens the sweet.
Okay, yeah. And,
That's just the skate. Toblerones as well.
oh, good. But
All the streets are available.
now looking at it, I really do fancy Oregon for this one. They've had a really strong D this year. The offense has certainly seemed to click. I've got the Oregon all the way.
Have you now? Get linked to that.
I have the Oregon, yeah. I got a cream for it, so it's fine.
Whatever you do, if you use yogurt, don't get the one with the fruit bits in it. It's stuck.
Guys, I'm just thinking, how important are these games to the players' careers?
Massively, because it's a pedestal.
Yeah, because don't forget, NCAA football is like a shop window. That's why it's a better quality of football, I think, anyway. But, and we've said this plenty of times, and they're all going out there to be spotted. So when these teams do well, you're talking about elite style players, and the chance for them to shine on the big stage, because the next step up is cha-ching money, isn't it?
Draft day. To be honest, I know plenty of fans that say they'd sooner sit there and watch an entire Sunday of college football than an entire Sunday of NFL, because unfortunately there's a mentality with the NFL players once they get there is, well, I've done it, I'm here, I'm earning me money. Yeah, maybe I'll go for a Super Bowl ring, maybe I'll get that sponsorship deal. Whereas the hungry in college, it's like, I want that, I need that, so I've got to play to reach that.
Also, the colleges need to be doing well as well, because it goes towards their athletic programme. Plus they get
Scholarship.
yeah.
Help! Yeah, because God forbid, nobody ever make it in the end.
What's the next game after that then?
Championship game, 12th of January, but we'll be able to talk about that when we're back, and we can review the Rose and the Sugar Bowl, and who's made it through. Ooh, okay, early predictions then for that championship game. I think it's going to be Bama FSU.
I think it's going to be Oregon Buckeyes.
I don't know. Oregon certainly, I think. I don't know. I wouldn't know the other. There's a handful of teams I could say. But no.
What do you mean a handful? There's only 4.
I know.
That's to him. That's a handful.
It is, look. It is
1, 2.
Already picked one, so we had 3 left.
Oh, little T-Rex hands, okay? Just
He's carrying every member of the team.
no. What I mean is you could be any one of them. I don't. Oregon definitely, but any one of the other 3. It's that. It's like I said before on the day.
Well, no, it can't be any one of the other 3. It's got to be one of the 2.
1 and 2. Yeah,
Because FSU will have been eliminated.
Will it? Okay.
Of course. This is how
yeah.
football works, right? A team wins.
No, it doesn't, because I've got some rule changes I want to bring in.
Oh, there we go.
We'll talk about that later. But anyway, talking of big money games, NFL.
Yeah.
Of course, you got
The full.
28th of December. We've got all the Christmas games, the final week of the regular season, and there's some really, really meaty games lined up there that are going to be important, I think, to the playoffs. Most certainly, the one that would stand out is the Lions-Packers.
Oh.
Yeah.
We've talked about that so much over the last few weeks about how this is going to be the decider for both of those teams.
Very much so, and I mean, I think that this is where the Lions are going to stamp their authority.
Really?
And this is... And
Well, they were one of my Super Bowl picks.
exactly,
so.
yeah. And I think this is where they'll come good. Considering we've seen them at Wembley and we were like, they're never going to make the bowl. They're never going to make the playoffs. But they pull wins together when they need to. A little bit like the Cowboys did the other week when we were talking about the Eagles game, the 2 games, and they ended up robbing 1 apiece, didn't they? In each other's backyards, which is bizarre. It's like we said, anybody can do well on the day. But definitely the Lions-Packers is a game to watch on Sunday the 28th of December. The other one, the interesting one, is the Chargers and Chiefs, because one of those 2 teams has got a chance of a wild card spot, and it could be interesting. Whoever wins that could end up. The other game, which is obviously people are going, oh, salivating that. Which if you'd have shown me this earlier on in the season, I would have said, it's a pointless game. It's the Bills Patriots. Now, of course, the Bills have started to come good. Team that's watching them in the wayside, watching the results of that game, will be Miami Dolphins, because they have a slim chance of being in it. The Miami Dolphins, yeah. They've got a slim chance of being in there, but obviously the Bills win that. I can't see them doing it. I think the Patriots have got a lot on the table, but will they take it easy?
They came very, very close at the start of the season, though, didn't they?
Very much so. Obviously, the Eagles-Giants is the Eagles are also one of those teams that are just sitting there waiting. They've got a chance of making the playoffs as well, a very good chance. But strangely enough, they're one of those teams that are in the running for making the playoffs. But the Saints, with a lower record than Philadelphia, are already in there.
Yeah.
Which is a bit bizarre. I think that's something that needs looking at.
Yeah.
The other important game, juicy game, Bengals-Steelers.
That'll be an interesting one.
That's going to be a very interesting one, because all season we've been saying about it, how competitive that conference is. And it's going to go right to the wire. Yeah. Which is interesting. Obviously, Cardinals and the 49ers. Well, 49ers have faltered a little bit, stumbled a bit now, so, I mean, they're grasping at straws if they think they can get in. But Cardinals are sitting pretty. They've already got their playoff spot confirmed. Do you think they might just take an easy ride?
Can they afford to?
No. Well, you got teams there. There's a lot of teams sort of on the fringes of, should we say, having a chance of the wild card, but they are fringes. There's so many teams with quite mediocre records who have got a chance of making it. But this year has not been that impressive. You know, you've got like a small amount of teams that have really stood out, but everybody else has been like a middle band of teams, and then obviously you've got your lower half teams. Interestingly enough, the one game that doesn't appeal to anybody, but it could be the wooden spoon game, because the Jaguars versus the Texans.
Yay.
Both teams sitting at the bottom.
Jackson comes back. My friend Jackson. He's
Yeah,
fabulous.
yeah. Less said about that the better. Jacksonville Jaguars.
And did you come in to Wembley from the roof?
Oh, you were outplayed by a giant jaguar.
No, do you know what?
Right.
On a
Jaguar.
bungee cord?
I was hanging my tinsel there. I was swinging like that. Tell you. No.
Look, less about your tinsel.
Yeah.
Put it
Jingle
away.
balls. Yeah. But yeah, it's the Jaguars and the Texans are basically playing a wooden spoon. Somebody's going to be a sore loser in that, and obviously if the Raiders can do the Broncos on the last day. I've got my fingers crossed, and
It's Christmas. Anything can happen.
it's Christmas. And
Magic.
Well, yeah.
You see that
But not that magic. I mean, Santa's got his limits, and the Raiders beating the Broncos is that limit, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a limit.
No, it's not. We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
There's going to be lots of magic in the air. There is. And suddenly, the world's a brighter place. Go on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. Shame Eagles could miss out the whole thing, all because of the way the standings are, because of that conference with the Saints sitting at the top with an absolutely stupid record. I think it's something that the NFL needs to look at, maybe a restructure, reshuffle of teams, and we did discuss this at one point.
We did.
Um,
In fact, I think it was last week, because we were talking about how the NHL restructure might play into how the NFL might look at restructuring, because the NHL had a conference that was being topped out by a team that would have been 9th place in the conference.
Of course, we were saying there about the Bengals and Steelers being a juicy game, but there's one team that's also watching that game in that conference, and that's Baltimore Ravens, because if somebody trips up, they've got a chance of making the playoffs as well as a wild card.
Yeah.
But again, there's a lot of ifs and buts, and we'll see what happens, eh?
Alright.
Football, it's a great season for it.
Isn't it just? Isn't it just?
Oh, the bell.
The bell.
Bells.
Wonderchop.
That's right.
These your parents, Ben?
Oh, what?
Ho ho ho! Wonderchop has a present for you, little boy.
Oh, no.
David,
Hello.
have you been a good boy this year?
No, not at all.
Good.
Oh, superhero toilet paper.
Yes. Be careful what
You know, I needed that before you came.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put that down.
I'll be using that later. I mean,
Yeah, look at that.
Yay!
Thank you, Wonderchop.
For the listeners at home, David has produced the toilet roll.
The worst closed captioning ever. Dave holds a toilet roll. We are putting this week's podcast on youtube.com/Yankin Off as our video, so you can watch it.
Merry
Do our thing.
Christmas.
So
I am a hologram!
and you can see what goes on behind the scenes when we're recording Yankin Off, which is not a great deal apart from eating Jaffa cakes.
drinking brew and chatting. Anyway.
But you got all those great bowl games on the 1st of January, but there's also something else that's now, over the past 7 years, become the standard for awesome January 1st entertainment. 6 p.m. on Premier Sports, you can watch.
Mud wrestling! I love that! Oh, okay.
Well, I'm kind of gutted because I won't be able to watch said thing.
Really?
As I found out today, we're open and I'm in work.
Oh.
I'm running the show.
Really?
Yeah, for a small...
You're running the show?
For the day.
Hang on, let me just think about that. Off you go.
I'm talking about the NHL Winter Classic,
Woohoo! Woo!
which is going to be played in
Dubai.
Dubai.
Yeah, Qatar have just won the rights to, unanimously, strangely enough, as everybody drives away with a new watch in a car.
Gary Bettman wouldn't pay for a watch in a car. Be a Casio and a skateboard. Chicago Blackhawks, Washington Capitals. Yeah, it's another Winter Classic, and teams that are both familiar with the classic itself.
Oh yes.
And I see that look in Ben's eyes, which means I don't know. He's got this look about him, like he wants to debate something.
Would that be... Hang on a minute. Let me just get this right. A debate. Would that be a Prem Spec?
That. Yes!
Nobody expects a premature speculation.
Sir, I challenge you to a Prem Spec of the Winter Classic.
Oh!
Challenge accepted.
I accepted you. I just went, oh! I'm going up.
Well done.
Too soon, Junior.
Right, okay, so...
For those who've not listened to the podcast before, Premature Speculation, we take 2 teams or 2 points of view, and we've got a minute each to argue the winner, and our judges decide who is the winner. Ben, you can toss the ceremonial Jaffa cake.
No, yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, you do it? Okay.
Kate, would you like to toss us? Would you like to toss me Jaffa?
Seedless. We know that's not the case.
Yeah, the kids have just had chicken, but...
Who's going to call?
It's...
I'll let Ben call this.
Go on then, Ben.
I'm going to call it chocolate.
Ooh, so flick it up in here. Oh, that's
that was a fix. She just placed
Flick
it on
it
the
like
table.
that.
Oh,
Like a
oh,
coin.
Give it a
Just do
proper
it
go.
properly. Nobody's going to eat it.
It's sponge.
What's it?
No. That means I get to pick. It doesn't mean I get to go ahead.
It's no.
It means it's time for you to go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Why are you ready?
Are you ready?
He's on his way out now.
So who are you representing?
I shall pick my most secondest favourite team in the NHL, the Chicago Blackhawks.
Okay.
Let's get ready to rumble!
The Winter Classic, it's a cracking game, and guess what? This year, it's played outdoors. Have the Capitals played outdoors yet? I don't think so, but the Blackhawks have, so we're prepared for it. Yeah. 21 wins this season, only 9 losses, one of them we took to overtime. We've scored 95 goals this season, and on an away record, because we're playing at Washington, we're carrying an 11-6 record. That's more wins than losses. We're doing better. We're second in the Western at the moment. Okay, so it is our second Winter Classic, and yeah, we did lose the last one. Okay, we lost 6-4 to the Red Wings, a decent team. But out of our last 10 games, we are 9-1, we're carrying through form. Patrick Kane, 31 games this season, 14 goals. Jonathan Toews, 31 games, 11 goals. Chris Burgess, 27 games, 8 goals. That's a total of 30 plus goals and over 44 assists. We've got the offensive unit coming at you. Corey Crawford, he's 4th in the leaders. Say no more. Say no more.
Right, hang on a
Very
minute.
dramatic.
I think there should be a few boos in there, and I'm about to tell you why.
Well, there's none on this table, so go on.
What my learned friend is forgetting is that the Winter Classic is always played outside. And when I said at the start of the segment that they both played a Winter Classic before, that means Washington's played outside as well. But there's a newsflash for you. When the Washington Capitals played outside, they won. And they beat Pittsburgh Penguins 3-1. One of the most convincing losses. One of the most convincing wins in the Winter Classic. Chicago lost to Detroit, but who did Detroit lose to last year? The Toronto Maple Leafs, so not as good a team as you might try and make them out to be. Washington Capitals, they're overdue, as are the home team in the Winter Classic, only won one of the past 6 Winter Classic games. Home team's time is now, and this is a Washington team that's looking to improve. New head coach Barry Trotz, He's putting in a culture change around the players, wants to bring in new guys. He's changed up that front line, trying to get new guys out with Ovechkin, improve that scoring option, and they're going to take it to the Blackhawks this Winter Classic.
Ooh. Well, what can I say? Your research, Ben, was amazing. Definitely one of them, wasn't it?
I don't think we need goal line technology for this one.
Just do it already.
Yeah, can we have the video replay on that?
Yes.
Yeah.
TMO.
I think Dave won this one. And do you know why?
Why are we going Gangnam Style?
Wrong button.
Because I can't even hear that. Ben, I'd just start singing. Because you lost that one, mate.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Dave's got that. Very convincingly.
That's okay, I don't care.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Gadget. I'm still new to this whole soundboard thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She should be short fingers, that's what it is.
I need to obtain one of them special dialing ones. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Wonderchop is back.
Wonderchop. Ho, ho, ho. If you see any, let me know. Benjamin.
Oh, scary
I'm
O's.
going to empty my sack for you.
he's already did that when you made the bugger.
Just the joy still outside. You were rubbish at that. So donkey rubbish
Hey!
in the bin.
Donkey jump.
I've done that before. Let me tell you, it was a fantastic experience looking at my junk.
What was that, remember?
So,
Jump dunking.
Jump dunking
But-
all day.
But going back to this game, these are two teams that have played in a Winter Classic before, so they've both got pedigree there. In terms of actual Winter Classics, this isn't the marquee game that the other ones have been. For a start, Nationals Park is not a prestigious place to play. There's a lot of people who've said that it should have been played at where did the Washington football team play?
Oh, that place.
I mean, it's fallen down, like, but they could have played it there for the.
You look like you know.
Yeah.
no more. It's on the tip of my tongue.
FedEx Field.
What?
Is it FedEx Field?
FedEx Field.
FedEx Field. Yeah.
Why did you look so surprised?
I think.
How do you do that?
She got a computer in front of her.
Oh, computer. You got one of those.
She got some tech.
She book smart.
Like green
What,
bar.
Yeah, on paper, Chicago, look at their form over the last 10 games. This is the team that's greatly improved from the start that they had at the start of the
I
season.
fancy Chicago for this.
Chicago are most likely going to go away with it, but Washington have been improving.
Mm-hmm.
They've played 29 games so far this season. The last 17 games they've gone 10-5-2. They've got a new head coach. Unfortunately, it's the new head coach that was for 14 years head coach of the Nashville Predators,
Ooh.
which is not a good sign.
No.
But he's made some improvements there and changed some of the locker room culture and putting in some positive changes. The GM's also said he's looking for some secondary pieces. They're looking for some trades to try and bolster Ovi's line and the second line. So if that comes within the next couple of weeks, there might be a vastly improved Washington Capitals on the ice. But in reality, I can't see this going any other way than Chicago. And it's funny, really, because every Winter Classic has been a 2-goal game,
Yeah, there it
tops. It's always been competitive, no more so than last year. Toronto and Detroit went into overtime.
That's right, yeah.
Fantastic game. And a great advert to be in front of 108,000 people like they were.
Not helping the fact I'm not going to get to watch this, you know.
But this is a completely different thing, and there's already a lot of call from fans and from the press that some other teams should be given a chance to play in a Winter Classic now, because they're talking next year The front runners to get it are Boston again. Now, I don't mind this because I like the Northeast. Original 6 teams, it's always good to see them. I'd quite like to see a Boston-Montreal game.
Yeah, the Bruins would be good to see.
Yeah, but do they go back to Fenway? There's talk that it might be a Gillette Stadium. Do it there instead rather than do Fenway again. I don't know, but one of the teams that's really clamouring for it, although it's not exactly the best fit for TV, certainly on a national scale, Minnesota wants it.
Yeah.
Because they're a northern team, they love their hockey. The Wild want to play, but who on a national level is going to watch a Minnesota? I don't think I've ever watched a Minnesota Wild game in all my years as a hockey fan. They're just one of those teams that are just forgotten about. They're mediocre. They don't make the playoffs. They're not great, but the fans want to see a Winter
As long as
Classic.
Anaheim don't ever get it, because then Disney would be all over that.
Well,
Maybe that's the best coaches then. Don't do that.
Coach Bombay wants one because no, the Stadium
Knocking the
Series
Dutch,
this year. They're not owned by Disney anymore either.
Oh, are they?
The Stadium Series game, which is going to be played in February, the other outdoor game that they have this year is LA at San Jose.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
if that's not a recipe for disaster in terms of outdoor
Kings of
playing
Sharks.
in southwestern California, it's just the most bizarre place to play.
So the Qatar bit's not going to go down well, is it?
It's probably the same scenario.
It's
But then
a water polo.
watches and cars to give away.
It's like water polo, right? You just sort of slap it and it flops around then.
Nobody argues when Qatar's bid will go in. It'll just be yeah, it's accepted. Never even go like, you're not pieced this together yet. You know, shut up. Just take your watch and your car.
For the one and only time in the NHL calendar,
Okay.
NHL journalists start to talk about weather. Something that doesn't normally bother them, but all of a sudden it's what's the long-term weather forecast.
Well, that wet stuff will be falling, and it might be cold.
Well, they're actually talking about rain, which would be a first for a Winter
That's what
Classic.
it was all about.
I might ruin the ice somewhat. It snowed quite a lot, and it's always fantastic played in the snow. But if it rains, it could ruin the game.
Spot the ref. Which one's he? The guy with the orange armbands on.
The puck's just like
Just turn the radiators off.
nuclear. But the ice pad has arrived at Nationals Park and is being set up at the moment. So the Winter Classic is set up and ready to go. Don't forget, you can watch it on Premier Sports 6 PM on the 1st of January, and on the run up to that, Premier Sports has got the Road to the Winter Classic. Get a chance to watch that. 4-episode series, which is going to be a fly on the wall about the Chicago-Washington games. It'll follow them through the season leading up to it. They've previously always been HBO documentary.
They're always good.
They've always been brilliant, yeah. HBO's dropped them this year, and it's run by Epix this year. What's going on?
No,
It's run by Epix this year,
I'm
which
about
is
Santa, don't worry.
Epix is a subscription channel, which means because of its lower viewership, the NHL has had to stream it on the NHL website as well to make sure that a majority of people get to see it. But I'm told from the previews it looks pretty good.
Would you like to go and watch a Winter Classic?
I would love to see a Winter Classic.
It's outside, you know.
I believe this one is. I don't know what the previous ones.
Are you not listening to that?
Right.
Come on.
I know one thing I've seen over the past couple of weeks looking at it is the launches of the jerseys for this season.
Which is always really cool to see because it's usually a throwback jersey. I think the Washington one last time they played was like the 1974 jersey. The Chicago one I've actually got, which is a fantastic shirt.
Yeah, the launches were quite different in the way in which they were launched. The Chicago one was launched at their club shop with one of the stars there covered up, and then the big reveal. Whereas
They put him in a big sheet. Just like.
but it was a bin bag by the look of it.
I was just left in there. Gone and partied somewhere.
And they invited.
If it was the Toronto Maple Leafs that had put him in the trash and just carrying them away.
They invited the press and some season ticket holders to go to the launch, whereas the Washington one was a huge one at National Fields. 3 of the players, what you mentioned one before, over
Alex Ovechkin.
yes,
Ovechkin.
and Backstrom and Holtby both with different themes on it. The Chicago one's based on the 1957 style jersey that they wore. It's white with the logo in the middle, with the Winter Classic logo on. Where the Washington one, the guy who was doing the introduction for it was saying about the history behind the shirt and the fact that it was deeper red, and it was like the deeper meaning of hockey in the local area for Washington, and the 3 stars represented on it with the 3 stars from the DC flag, and it just seemed a bit more stage, well, a lot more stage, because there was a stage rather than just a shop floor.
So it's a design shirt rather than a throwback jersey.
I would say it looks to be, but there was no mention of that on the specific. It seemed to be a lot of reference to the history and where Washington is and the significance it has for the US. It was the Chicago one seemed a little bit more fan friendly. There was a lot of, the video showed fans meeting the players, getting their autographs on their shirts and things, official names on back and things like that. So I think the Chicago one looked better in terms of a sports fan, whereas Washington, obviously, because it's being played in Washington, used the whole thing to say, look, this is where we're playing.
Right,
This is-
We've had this with sports shirts before, and especially with ice hockey. And they were talking about the Marvel comics, and they were talking about like bringing a selection of shirts out. Why don't they just get it one year where every team plays in like a superhero strip?
Because that would just be the most awfully gimmicky thing.
Said Capitals shirt.
Oh, I like that.
That's a bit old school, isn't it?
Yeah, but modern enough.
And then
And for
Black
people listening at home, Ben is holding up a computer.
that just looks so
That's old school, that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Well, I like the Capitals one because it's a little different. That Chicago one is
With
is
our
standard
ethnic friend on the
Chicago.
front of it.
Yeah.
But the Cleveland guy,
Yeah.
he's up in Washington as well. How can he be in 2 weeks at once?
I'm picking up Dave on a point he made before. A couple of the comments that were linked to these videos that I saw. A lot of people are calling for teams on a cycle rota for the Winter Classic, so that each team gets a chance to play in
I think
this
it's a good
one-off
idea,
game.
that, actually.
Yeah. Well, there was talk at one point of actually having the All-Star game be the Winter Classic, so that everybody would be represented.
That's actually a very clever idea.
The problem with the All-Star game, though, is
You wouldn't get your all-star players.
you'd probably get the All-Star players, but the thing
It
is,
wouldn't be a game, would it?
it's not a game.
Exhibition.
Yeah, and people
bit
don't
like
watch
the-
it.
That's why some people go, some of these great players will go, I want to play a game, I'm not skating around, passing,
Yeah.
and so they won't go. And then you'll get people who are not that good playing. And
Well,
then,
what
like you
would
say,
be good
it's like a
is-
stage, it's like, dare I say, did you know that wrestling's fake?
No?
Oh my!
I know, don't. Promise wouldn't cry!
It'd be like watching the Charlestown Chiefs from Slapshot. 'Cause they tour as like a Harlem Globetrotters thing now and do like a staged hockey game. They did one in Coventry a few years back, I think.
We talked about that the other week.
Did we?
Yes.
In your
In the
own.
car.
That's it. When nobody
Oh.
can hear, and there's no
In the car.
microphones.
Every now and again I have a conversation that isn't a podcast.
Really?
Whoa! Did you pay us rights to do that?
Get me union rep onto this right now. I'm not having this.
Oh! I think the
Oh!
the jolly old man is back.
Oh! Dee-ho!
Howdy ho.
Kate. Kate.
Mr. Santa Claus.
Wonderchop.
Pepper.
Wonderchop, get the name like
Wonderchop
that.
Claus.
Yes.
Well, I'll have you over my knee.
You didn't promise that to me.
There's plenty of time yet. You be doing Christmas dinner, will you, this year?
Certainly will be.
Will you? You be doing the washing up?
Maybe.
Making sure you look after them hands, darling.
Keep down and scrub.
Don't get my tinsel in a tangle.
Hey! Less about the baubles, please.
And I will keep calm.
Right.
Can I
Moving on.
ask a question?
No, you can't. Go on.
I just thought, was just thinking, speaking of all these wonderful gifts that Wonderchop is presenting with us, if you could get your respective sports commissioner of Christmas gift, what would it be?
A 9mm Uzi, because he needs one long piece of rope, because he's hanging himself at the moment. Yeah.
I'd probably have to go with the Dummy's Guide to Domestic Abuse.
Oh, for the NBA commissioner.
Yeah.
That ties us in nicely with something that's just about to come up.
Well,
I only drank a mouthful.
I would get Gary Bettman blinkers so that he's not watching what other commissioners in other leagues are doing, because he's not one of the big boys. He's the NHL commissioner, and he should just get on with doing NHL commissioner things.
You go stand in the corner, face the corner until you're told, but I want to play!
We've got, obviously, couldn't be here with us tonight, but our man from left field has got a view for us.
Oh.
And it ties in nicely with a comment that was just made. So there's James's view from left field. When I get it playing.
So sat here up in left field this winter, I noticed a little something, and it was an overriding, emanating pink glow coming from the direction of the National Football League. So I had a little closer look at this, and turns out National Football League, they're big supporters in the fight against breast cancer, and every October they bathe themselves in a warm pink glow, and they've got all this wonderful pink merchandise for sale, and the proceeds go to fight breast cancer. And this is all part of the NFL's big push to become more inclusive and get more women involved in the game. And I thought, yeah, professional sports do need more involvement from women. There's no reason why you should discount 50% of the human race from your fan base or from your staff or from your player base. So why not get more involvement with women? And if this is the way they want to do it, well, that's a good thing, surely. But then I had a little think, and I thought, no, I'm calling bullshit on this. And I'm going to call bullshit on this on a few different levels, which I'm going to tell you gentlemen about now. First off, this supporting the fight against breast cancer, I personally find that crap from the start. If you look at the actual numbers of the money that goes to the breast cancer charities from the NFL's philanthropy, you'll find something you might not think is particularly palatable or particularly philanthropic. From the money you spend on the NFL merchandise, about 5% of that in total goes to the breast cancer charities themselves. 5%. So if you think about that, if you spend $100 on an NFL jersey, a lovely pink, fitted, designed for women NFL pink jersey, if you spend $100 on that item, about $3.50 is going to breast cancer charities. The rest of that is going right back to the NFL, back in their coffers, back in the non-profit coffers of the National Football League. And these are items that the NFL sells at 100% markup anyway. So when you're talking that sort of money going back to the NFL, 95% of every dollar you spend on this breast cancer branded merchandise goes right back to the NFL. They're not even really paying lip service to this. What they're doing is they're marketing by stealth. They're trying to expand their consumer base to women who are not traditionally fans of this game. And it's a cynical means to do that by pretending that they're concerned with women's issues. If you're really concerned with breast cancer, you are far better off donating $100 directly to the charities that are concerned with the issue than using the middleman of the NFL, who's just using this as a means to line its own pocket anyway. And this really grinds my gears, gentlemen, and I'll tell you why. Because the NFL has consistently shown and failed to show that it cares about women and women's issues in their sport by the way they act. In my opinion, we had the most glaring and odious example of that this very season with the whole Ray Rice affair. We had a situation where a paltry 2-game suspension was handed out to Ray Rice for undeniably attacking and beating his partner. And the way the whole thing was handled by the NFL and the Ravens themselves was, I just found particularly disgusting. We had the whole press conference, the ridiculous pantomime of this press conference where the Ravens were tweeting it live, sportscasters were talking about it, and oh well, Janae Rice has accepted her portion of the blame in this affair. She bears some responsibility for her partner beating the living crap out of her and dragging her unconscious form out of an elevator down to their hotel room. Apparently she deserved that. She said she deserved that. And that's okay, we can just move on. Everyone's accepted their portion of the blame. Let's learn some lessons. Let's make sure this never happens again. Ray, you're banned for 2 games. It was only later, after a video was made public, that the NFL had access to anyway, that showed the strike landing on Janae Rice's form, that the NFL was moved to suspend Ray Rice for more than a paltry 2 games. But they had that evidence in the first instance. It appears to have been proven by statements made by the police who provided the video to the NFL. So the NFL doesn't care about these issues. They don't care about women, apart from the profit that women can provide. The National Football League. The whole victim blaming that went on with Janae Rice, saying, well, she's accepted her portion of blame. She had no portion of blame. She was beaten like a sack of potatoes by a man, 3 times her size. There was no excuse for that. And to say she was accepting her portion of blame is a disgrace. I saw that press conference, I saw the recordings, and what I saw was a woman, a victim of domestic abuse, using the language of victims of domestic abuse. It was almost a case study. I have got to accept my part of the blame. I pushed him to it. I deserved this. It was really my fault. That's crap. That's how victims talk in these situations. And instead of choosing to support the victim of this assault, the NFL chose to blame the victim of this assault, try to sweep the whole matter under the carpet and move on with our lessons learned. Well, that's a load of crap. This is the result of a culture. I know I may sound like I'm being a little hard on football here, but I think that in the uber masculine testosterone fueled world of football, this is a bigger problem than it is in the other sports. This is a culture that teaches these young gentlemen from an early age to commodify and treat women as a bartering chip, a matter of status. A woman is something to be possessed, something that shows your part in the pecking order on any team or organisation you're involved with. In the college game, there are nefarious recruitment practices with the athletes when they're coming into the various football programmes, and I think it's an open secret that part of those recruitment practices are the dangling of young women, young college students at these institutions in front of the prospective college athletes. Now, when you create a culture at a young age with these young athletes in college football, where women are commodified and they're in an environment where those assumptions are never challenged, they're coming into the limelight of the NFL, they're maturing in with these assumptions never being challenged, and the impacts are being felt in the family lives of these men, and the impacts are being felt by the spouses of these men and the families of these men. Now, if the NFL was really serious about tackling women's issues, it would not just go down the route of painting itself pink every year for a month every year and just donating 5% of our profit to these charities instead of giving all the money to it. No, we'll just give some of the money and we can feel good about ourselves. We're concerned about women. Well, that's not good enough. If you're really concerned about women, be concerned about women. Be concerned about the women in your own NFL family, the spouses of your athletes, the children of your athletes as well. What you really need to do is look at the causes of this domestic violence. You've got a culture where women are commodified to the athletes at an early age, but you've also got you've also got an industry where the regular concussions and the prevalent head injuries, it appears there's a causative link with the propensity to violence for the athletes, and they take that home with them, and they're in a closed environment with the spouses, with the children, and domestic abuse is at a higher rate among professional athletes in the National Football League than it is in the population as a whole. And the NFL has got to look at its own responsibility in that. It's got to look at itself and say, what can we do to reduce this harm? If you want to concern yourself with women's issues, concern yourself with women's issues. Get real about it. Do something to protect the spouses of your employees by protecting your employees in the first instance. Don't sweep reports about concussions under the carpet for decades just so you can keep that high impact game that brings in the views on the telly. It's not good enough. The NFL is just bathing itself in this comforting pink glow as a means to attract women back into the game and as a means to appease mothers who are not comfortable with their children playing this sport anymore. The NFL is trying to pull a bait and switch to try and get mothers to allow their kids to still play this game. You know, keep that assembly line going, keep that factory line going, keep producing the athletes of the future. Don't turn them onto other sports. Don't let them play soccer or basketball or God knows what else. No, keep them playing football because we care about women. Well, I'm sorry, NFL, but you need to show it, and you need to show it by your actions, not by your marketing, not by your PR, not by your press, your good press. You need to get serious, and you should start in the first instance by protecting the women closest to you. And that, gentlemen, is what I see from left field this week. Thank you very much.
That was James, of course, and this sad time of year, we have to bear in thought for things like James. So remember to donate. The number is Klondike 55555.
A happy Christmas to James too.
Wow, is he serious or what?
That guy's got some beef, man.
It's better than turkey though.
No, I'm looking forward to turkey. I want that ham as well, you know, and a bit of potato. Oh, anyway, I'm getting myself hungry, done, man.
Just briefly, because we'll move on from that, because obviously I love the NFL. But he has got an issue. He has got a serious issue. And when it's put to you like that, and I'm sure millions of people aren't aware of this, you kind of go, whoa, hang on a minute.
Hello.
Yeah.
Because they do it over the smallest things like, you know, Oxfam and stuff like that. And, and they're quick to criticise people like that. But when you think, you know, 5%, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Can you
I was
imagine?
shocked to hear that.
Yeah, so yeah, I think his view from left field is certainly a lot clearer than some people's.
Yeah. And well, you wanted a rant. You didn't get one when we did our Yanksgiving special. So.
He sat there very
He just wouldn't give in, would he?
James, well done, mate.
It's like a badger with a spoon.
See what, I'm going to be sitting there over Christmas crying. I'll be friends with the NFL in case somebody's wearing pink. Good luck.
The worst part is if you open your first Christmas present and it's one of them fitted pink jerseys. No, take it back! I can't! Oh.
Holy ho! David.
If this is an LFL shirt, I'll be very upset.
Luch's NFL shirt.
David. I believe you have, your wife was telling me, or your good lady was telling me she has problems with you at night.
She has problems with me all day, every day.
Snoring. Not anymore, mate. Not anymore. We solved that problem. That problem
I might use it on air.
is solved.
No, we'll start another review from left field.
Get it out.
Whoa!
That's what she said. Okay.
This is hilarious.
There we go.
Oh my.
Oh, can we use that to wind James up when he won't grind? Hey James.
take it to work with you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Jane.
Ah,
Yeah,
Hey, Jane.
lots of punching.
Look, you might be brave enough to do that, but I'm not.
Yeah, he's like a stunt double for...
he's going to walk up the stairs in a bit with Vicky and he's going to be like...
So,
Well, before we go any further, there's a Prem spec that I feel needs to be addressed at this very moment. Because Wonderchop's just been and delivered some more presents.
it's
And
Billy Girls!
you missed him every time you leave the room. But it's got me thinking. And of course, last year we had the most epic of battles between Santa and Jesus. In
Army
which-
of Elves.
The Army of Elves. bits.
Army of Elves, you can't miss that.
The original beard, to be feared, is being worn by me today. But I've got a challenge to issue today.
This guy comes into kids' bedroom, when they're asleep. Who CRP'd it? Go on.
I've got a challenge to issue, and I'm going to challenge the person who I beat earlier today at Prem Spec, because I fancy just taking him on one more time.
Okay.
And this
Get your toilet roll, Andy.
this is about presents. This is about the kind of thing that Wonderchop brings. Because what I want to know is whether it's better to give or to receive.
Oh, okay, well, depends on
Hang on a
context.
second.
Got prison in.
And hang on a second. Kate's going to decide who's going to argue to give and who's going to argue to receive.
Oh.
Well, I'm going to tag. I can't answer this question. It's just not on.
Kate, a sign.
Well, that's,
Well,
what is it, Kate? You tell us first. What do you think?
No. She's going to decide once she's heard the evidence.
Okay.
What are you looking for?
what are you doing?
Just amusing myself for the next 10 minutes.
Come on!
I would like David to be the giver and Ben to be the taker, because he
Ben
did
to
take
receive
us
it.
before.
Hang on. Is that a villain?
Okay. Ben gets to flip the ceremonial
No,
Jaffa
you
cake
shouldn't
thing.
get. Oh no, Wonderchop.
Wonderchop can flip it.
Is Wonderchop back in the room?
Hang on. Now he is.
Sponge.
Chocolates!
God damn it, Leroy.
I'm going to opt to go first this time.
Okay.
What am I? I'm giving.
You're given.
Okay. God knows how this is going to go. Being Christmas and being the man with the beard to be feared wearing, there's nothing I like better than giving a good, hard, big present. Especially to somebody like Ben, because you see, what I would do is I'd get like, you know, one of those big Toblerones and wrap it up real nice, shine it up nice as well. And to give a present like that is just, it just gives you the best feeling. It gives you the feeling for a couple of seconds. It's sharp and pointy. It's you know, a bit, if you make it, the present's a bit narrower on one end, I find it's easier to give. Now, I'm the kind of guy, I don't like to receive. I prefer to give these things away. And so the act of taking my parcels and my packages from my sack and delivering them into either the hands or wherever you prefer of the person that I'm giving them to is something that I enjoy the most. And I know that Ben would certainly appreciate that. What more is there to say?
You gave it your all.
You gave it your all.
Yeah.
Dear.
Take that, Ben.
He sure did. Now he's going to talk about how much he enjoyed it.
No, so you can take it, but can you receive it? No, a real man or lady can receive a present instead. Some presents you can eat in the mouth. Or some presents you can sit on. But it doesn't matter, because if the present's big enough, it'll always hit the spot. Sometimes you get two presents. One of them might even be liquid form.
Why are you crying, isn't it?
Help the other one go down better.
It's having the desired effect on us.
I'm sorry, but I prefer to take and receive and to give, because at the end of the day, I'm skinflint. And it's just easier.
That's all I'm going to say, yeah. Well,
Wow.
thing is, right, I feel a lot of love in the room.
Can I point out that you can only ever give one present at a time, but you can receive many in one go?
Amen.
I'm sexy and I know it. I'm sexy and I know it.
That'll do, that'll do.
Order, please. Order.
That was a little bit too early, eh?
So Kate. Oh. Somebody's receiving.
Oh. Oh.
No.
Oh. Who's been giving things and receiving without me?
Oh.
Kate, you feel a little bit left out here.
What's your
something
most
for
giving
you.
and receiving?
I've got a little something for you.
I've got a little something for you.
Now, I know that you like to go out and enjoy yourselves now and again.
Myselves. There's two of me.
Yourselves, yeah, you and your elves. Got how many elves, haven't you, bitch?
Oh.
Right.
Enjoy yourselves with their elves.
I've got you some sambuca,
Oh.
chocolates.
I shall have these now.
Yeah, I'll drive behind you on the way out. We'll record that. That'll be interesting, that.
All the chocolate shots are available.
Of course, yeah.
Yes. It's the worry, do I have these whilst wearing the rubber gloves?
I think so. We're a big sheet as well. Could get messy, that.
So Kate, is it better to give or receive?
Before I make my decision, I need some thinking time.
Okay.
While I have my thinking time, I would like you to tell me, if you could invite any sports personality to your Christmas dinner, who would it be?
Oh.
John Madden.
Oh, that's just a stock answer then, isn't it?
No.
Wayne Gretzky, that's just
Okay,
saying
no,
the most
that's John
obvious
Madden.
names.
While he's there, poised, over Sue, it'd be like, what do I do? Quick, ask Madden.
What you gotta do now? We haven't done a Madden in a while on the podcast.
Yeah.
What would you do if Joe Madden only ate fish fingers?
Joe
Joe
Madden.
Madden.
Oh! I'd go, what are you doing here? Where's John?
Where's your brother?
I'm wearing 2 layers.
Do you know who I am? I'd start running. I'd like to meet John Madden, purely from a football point of view. One, because he was one of the best coaches the Raiders ever had. But also because...
Do you like the Raiders?
Nah. Who told you that? I like all NFL teams.
You know,
Especially the San Francisco
The
49ers.
49ers.
now,
I
hey,
like them a lot when we beat them.
I like, the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the Chicago. No, purely from his football point of view, because he's been involved so much broadcast and stuff like that. You know, he's seen a lot of changes. I'd just like to sit down with him and be interesting. If it was a non-football person, the one person I'd like to sit down with, probably Princess Diana. I
What?
would have loved to have sat down and just spoken to her and let her be a normal person and not the buttered up glitter ball that everybody wanted her to be.
That wasn't the answer I was expecting.
They came from inside!
Gee Wilkers, Batman.
Who could I invite to Christmas dinner? Blake Bortles' wife.
Yeah.
Can't do that! yeah, that's a good call, actually. What,
I'm somewhere between
what would
Miley
Vicky say?
Cyrus, Miley Cyrus, or
Miley Cyrus is a sports personality now, isn't she?
She has a wrecking ball.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
What's that got to do with sports?
Oh, Miley Cyrus or Lindsay Lohan, because either way, that's going to get messy.
Do you know what?
And,
If you brought Blake Bortles missus to dinner, you know what Vicky would say? She'd go, would you like gravy on that? Who's that, please, David?
She'd say that if I invited Wayne Gretzky.
Hi! Who is that?
no, if I had to pick somebody in the sporting world, I'd probably pick Kobe Bryant.
Would you?
I would, because the guy's been in the game so long now, and everyone's saying how he's following the footsteps of MJ. And he's still on the up and in the sport now, and he's coming from a long way. He's going a long way, and like you would imagine, it'd just be interesting to get his side of the view from everything.
Maybe that's something you should think about. Put around the key.
Get him in for Christmas dinner.
Reel him in.
I could just see him just sat at Christmas dinner with his mic out. Welcome to Around the Key. Just carving the turkey. I would say
Kobe Bryant via Skype. Did you get your turkey butter sent? Cool, right.
I would say in the actual sporting world and not the Blake Bortles' wife world, maybe Ilya Briskalov, one of those nuts goaltenders who'd just be like completely off the wall to chat to. You know, why would you want like Wayne Gretzky to sit there and be all boring and Wayne Gretzky? He's not going to shoot the puck over the frigging table. You'd want somebody who's just nuts. And Ilya Briskalov fits
I
the
love
bill.
Wayne Gretzky because I just think you sign that shirt like here as well.
Just bring a stack.
And just to click my accept on Facebook there, and that will be good. Do you know who wouldn't have over for dinner? Do you know who wouldn't have over for dinner? I wouldn't have Eli Manning over for dinner, because when I'd be like, Eli, the salt!
No, tell you what. Let Peyton pass the salt.
Here you go, Pete. Cheers, Dad.
Going back to the hockey. Of course, we've got to talk about the NIHL and Labour Conference.
Well, we are about halfway, really, aren't we, in terms of the amount of games played. Solihull doing what Solihull do best. What can you say? Coventry Blaze, who beat 16-2 the last week before we recorded. It's a bit hard because there'll be more results by the time you hear this podcast. But essentially, you got that mid-table battle between the Widnes Wild, Nottingham Lions, Deeside Dragons. And Deeside, they haven't got a game now till the 28th of December.
After us talking about those wonderful football games on the 28th of December, we're going to be out, aren't we?
Yeah. 28th of December. There's some great games on. You've got
Deeside are away at Coventry.
Yeah, well, that's always a good trip. It's a long trip, but it's a good trip.
Do you think Deeside will go light on that one?
Coventry Blaze, no.
Do you think they'll travel light, should I say? Because bearing in mind, this is where I think it's going to fall down for Deeside, having this break. I think they should have arranged it so that their fixtures were going over Christmas. I think, I mean, without actually getting the comment from them regarding this, I think they obviously thought, you know, give the guys a bit of time off over Christmas to be with their family and that. Thought they were doing a good thing, and it's come back to bite them really, because they've got games ahead on people.
Well, I think over the Christmas period, the two games to watch are the two Widnes Wild games coming up.
Yeah.
And by the time you've heard this podcast, Widnes will have taken on Sheffield Senators, which is going to have been a huge battle. But later on, I think it's Saturday, January 3rd, if you go down a little bit, Gary.
You see, and I do know, speaking to Gavin Austin of the Deeside Dragons, previously in an interview.
Telford Tigers.
Yeah.
January the 3rd.
Gavin was saying how it'd be nice to have New Year hockey because they're on such a break, but they won't actually have time for a practice session first. They're going straight in, first time on the ice.
Well, that's interesting because that's where they got come unstuck against a team like Coventry, who've had their number before. But the real game for me, the number one game, once you've seen the Winter Classic, 2 days later, get yourself out to Telford and see that game against the Widnes Wild, because that's going to be a battle. Telford aren't unstoppable in that third place, and Widnes have got some momentum behind them.
And obviously because we're recording this now, last week we witnessed Deeside demolishing Bradford, but at the same time we were being kept up to date by our good lady Kate there, regarding the Telford Nottingham game
At Nottingham.
at Nottingham, which by all accounts was penalty ridden. And it was 0-0 for a long time, then it was 1-0 to Notts, and then it was 1-0 to Telford. Telford ended up winning 2-1. Not a pretty result, but a win nonetheless, which keeps them still in there. And we've said this from day one. Telford are a team that are hot on the heels of Solihull. If Solihull trip up, Telford could quite easily.
And again, like Telford's got 2 games in hand over Solihull.
But they've lost 3.
Yeah.
This is the thing, they need Solihull to lose 3, and I can't see Solihull losing 3 games.
I think coming into January, we're going to see a completely different picture around that. From the 2nd to the 6th place spot is going to be completely different, because teams are going to go all out. It's going to be interesting the next couple of weekends to see, because they're all like high pressure games as well that they're playing. Come January 4th, I think it's going to be a different looking league.
Well, the interesting thing is, Solihull don't play now until the 10th of January.
No, and the Dragons have only got that game on the 28th. So the Dragons and Solihull both sit back and watch everybody else catch up to them. That's what's interesting about it.
But obviously Solihull have got that advantage of not losing the game so far.
Yeah.
See, speaking to the Dragons lads on our previous Dragons TV, I got to speak to Steve Fellows and stuff, and he said they were going to concentrate predominantly on the second half of the season, because that's the make or break section of the season. They're in a good position at the moment. They want to try and carry momentum through. They've got a good idea in what they're running. He's happy with the way that they're performing in training. Maybe a couple of things he needs to pick up on. One of the major things we've also picked up on in the past, they need the sort of discipline out of the Dragons.
Yeah.
But if you can get all that under the belt going into New Year,
See, I chatted with Ian Foster, and I mean, you know, smack me in the face, Ian, if you want to, but I'm going to say this quite clearly. He's pretty much accepted the fact that this year and next year is probably going to be more development for the team as they try and bring through more younger players like Ross Kennedy.
Yeah, and Jack Meadows.
Jack Meadows, yeah.
And we saw the appearance of Chad Wynn.
Chad Wynn had a great game.
Yeah.
Even Dom Jolly looked good in net. Another
Yeah.
junior that got a chance to have a call up this week.
Yeah.
And like Steve said in his interview, they've got a good background development there. It's all coming through for the Dragons, who are a progressive team.
Well, I've got to say, I think you can't rely on the young guys coming through, because you need experienced players to pass on this, hand over this experience, if you like, and help bring these guys through. And what we're seeing at the moment is just 1 or 2 existing senior players who are performing well, and the rest seems to be just.
I don't know about 1 or 2.
No,
because you've got
spread play.
Chris Jones, James Parsons, Cy Furnival,
Mark Lovell.
Mark Lovell's just fantastic. Andy Chappell's having a great season.
Yeah.
Gavin Austin was fantastic on the ice last week.
Steve himself is having a really good season.
When I say 1 or 2, I mean, you know, like.
The entire team.
No, I'm talking about maybe 4, 5 players, as you say. But I'm not going to mention names, but I would say some people out there are playing for themselves.
Okay, yeah, I'll accept that.
Yeah,
I think it's a notice.
and what we're finding now is that the team that we saw last year at D-side, which looked so good going into the end of the year, ended up being a completely different team coming into the season this year.
Would you say a word for it? And again, Ian may disagree with us, and if he disagrees, we'll get his views out on the podcast. Would you say this year the Dragons are looking a little fractured?
I certainly say they're missing Ban straight away.
Well,
I would say, I'd go a step further and I'd say they're missing Sean Kippen, because he was a great influence on the locker room.
He was the glue that held things together.
yeah.
So,
Something to think about for the new year.
yes, most certainly.
Maybe that's something on their shopping list for next year.
But by all means, if you do get the chance, get down to D-side. All the fixtures available on basnradio.co.uk. check out when the next home game is. Get up there. It's a great night of entertainment as is
It
anyway.
is good fun.
Don't just go and see the Dragons, go and see all the teams. You know, all the fixtures are on the
Yes.
NIHL website. Go and see them.
Telford,
The
Nottingham.
Winners Telford game.
There's some
go
good
and see
teams
that.
out there. I mean, you know, Bradford,
If you're in Solihull, you're in for a treat.
even though they're a bottom,
Yeah.
went out and had a fight. And if you're looking for that kind of hockey,
Like
it's
the
excitement
Green
to
hockey.
the fighting, then they're your team.
I got another Christmas message for us.
Oh, go on then.
The Queen.
Are you ready?
The anti-queen.
Nah, the Queen wasn't in.
Ho 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 Yankees! Merry Christmas! What a year 2014 was. Fantastic for West Coasts, I've just worked out in my head. You had the Seattle Seahawks win the Super Bowl, the LA Kings winning the Stanley Cup, and the San Francisco Giants taking the World Series. And let's not forget our very own Merseyside Nighthawks. They are, a West Coast team in the scale of the country. They managed to get a good win. See that, Gary? I managed to bring up the fact that you're a champion again. It's the season to be festive and be jolly. It's been a fantastic year, really, for us here at Yankin Off, and I want to thank everybody that we've worked with this year, and especially you guys, the team. You know, Dave put so much work in, Gary putting all the work in, Ben as well. Kate doesn't get any of the credit, but does all of the work, and let's not forget James. We've had a great year. The show's really, really expanded. Of course, the most important fact of the whole year is the launch of BASN Radio, which you can find on basnradio.co.uk. Let's not forget that, people. But yeah, what a year it's been. It wouldn't be a year, or at least a Christmas special, without an extra special Premature Speculation. So I'm going to throw this one out there, and I'm going to throw this one out to Gary, and you're going to take on Kate, Gary. I'll leave it to you guys to decide, but I want to know, which is the best Christmas sweet? Is it the roses, or is it the Quality Street? It's down to you guys to decide. Have a good Christmas, guys. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and don't forget to come back to us after the new year. It's going to be amazing. We've got so much more planned. We're going places, and we're taking you, the audience, with us. Merry Christmas from me, Matt.
Touche, Mr. Farnham. Well played, sir. Well played.
Thank you, Matt.
It was an easy victory.
Of course, Matt isn't with us at the moment. He's currently busy in Edinburgh,
What's he doing?
hard at work. Yeah, hard at work, I believe. Right, okay then. That sounds like a Prem spec.
So, who's taking which?
I'll take.
Please, can I have roses?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, oh.
I'll take Quality Street.
I know why as well.
Why I took roses or why he took quality?
Why
Kate.
it's a Quality Street?
Call her in the air, chocolate or sponge?
Chocolate, because it's about chocolate.
Oh, there it is.
It's sponge.
Stand me legs.
It's sponge. Are you ready? Who's going first?
I'm ready, brother.
Where's James when you need him?
Yeah.
Who's going first?
Kate, you can go first.
Oh, on a debut. Are you ready?
Roses are by far the best chocolate. They're British, they're from Cadbury, for God's sake. Cadbury are British, amazing. Dairy Milk, we've got them on the table, for Pete's sake. Cadbury's belong to BASN, belong to us as the British people. They're delicious, they're milk chocolate. They are wonderfully wrapped. They are fantastically beautiful. They're called roses. Roses smell delicious as well. I can put them on the table next to the chocolates. There's none of this. They are also the sponsors of ITV Christmas, believe it or not. Other networks are available, like the ASN, who are also British, like the Cadburys, like the Roses. Get it up, you Gary. England 1, Quality Street 0.
Still got time.
I've still got time. Well, I'm going to taste one of these because they're just so delicious. Now listen. Even its taste.
Is it caramel in the roses? Not bad for a first attempt. Why does everybody always prematurely speculate too early when they go for the first try?
Well, I can't tell you how long I've got.
When the clock runs out.
Well, I haven't got a clock.
No, the sound. Are you ready?
I am.
I stopped him doing his research as well in the middle of it.
Oops.
Little girl. Little do you know why people choose Quality Street over Roses. Quality Street are made for sharing. Sharing is a good time at Christmas when people share things. Roses are for people who are greedy and keep them to themselves because they like them too much. Quality Street are giving chocolate. Not only that, they come in lots of shapes and sizes as well at Quality Street. Unlike Roses, you can get massive size Quality Street ones. You can get individual packs of one particular style in Quality Street. You can't in Roses. Okay. Also, those shapes can be used, as we said previously, for various other activities other than eating. Which I'm sure some people would like to do at Christmas in this time of sharing. So, why you would want to pick Roses, I do not know. I've got some reviews.
What about King Size Dairy Milk is a weak argument.
By the way,
you had your chance. You had your minute.
They're heroes, not Roses.
And when she could have picked out a Dairy Milk that is in a box of roses, she picked out the caramel.
You can get caramel cakes.
But it wasn't a caramel keg you took out there.
It was a Cadbury's rock.
The ultimate argument is what's always left in the bottom of a Roses box? Pretty much everything bar the orange and strawberry. What's left in the bottom
Do you
of
know
the
what,
box?
Kate? I think your argument was...
I got a link to BASN.
She did, but he got a link to Christmas. It's 50-50.
Oh!
It's 50-50.
Oh!
I think. And now Wonderchop's come back.
Oh! You've been eating the chocolates without me.
It's like. This is the most schizophrenic thing we've ever done on this show.
Benjamin,
Stop.
having problems with your technology, aren't you?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Stressed out, are you?
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, you won't have that problem anymore, sunshine, because I've got you stress-free.
Hey!
Take all your stress out on that. And don't call me.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna open that one up to the Yankin Off audience.
Tweet us.
Tweet at Yankin Off.
I'm going to tweet now.
No!
Oh, yeah.
Look at him looking up Quality Street.
You should lose because of that. I've still got the D-side Dragon pictures.
Well past that, baby. Well past that.
Yeah, we'll open it up to Twitter, and we also want to hear from Matt. He set the challenge. Let's see what his thoughts are.
I also got reference to the...
Can I just say Scotland is in Britain as well, where Cadbury are from?
Do you mean they're not in Morton?
No. It's all about the moon. Don't know what's going on.
I've been to Bourneville in Birmingham. I know how it works.
Tastes good.
Really?
So there's one big day of games of sport that we haven't talked about yet.
Oh yes. It is.
Monopoly.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because you get Monopoly and then there's Clue down there's all the games are available.
Well, they spend money like Monopoly money.
And that is?
That is the NBA's Christmas Day games.
Woo!
Like,
Oh,
like they do with the Winter Classic, a whole new range of shirts comes out just for this one day of the year.
They've been heavily criticised over this year, haven't they?
They have severely, so a lot of them held off on making a lot of the changes. Some of them even went and said, we're not going to put a Christmas shirt out, we're going to go with the long sleeved option, which for viewers, it's obviously a traditional basketball shirt is like a very thin strap at the top. The long sleeve shirt looks more like a t-shirt that they're playing in. So a lot of teams actually developing that this year with the styles and then using that in actual league. We're going to start. There's 5 games, on Christmas Day. You've got the Washington Wizards against the New York Knicks. You've got Oklahoma City Thunder against the San Antonio Spurs. You've got the Lakers against the Bulls.
No.
Golden State Warriors Clippers. And my pick for the day, the Cleveland Cavaliers heading to the Miami Heat.
Oh.
So, very quickly, Washington, New York. Right now, John Wall at the Wizards is having a stormer of a season. He's going to shut Carmelo out quite easily. That's going to be a walkover for the Wizards. Oklahoma, San Antonio. San Antonio not having a good show after winning the championship last year against the Heat. Ginobili's out at the moment. It's left Parker and Duncan to do most of the work. Oklahoma, only just getting big KD back, Kevin Durant. Russell Westbrook's having to pick up most of the work there. It's straining on him. You're going to see him very tired on the day. Lakers Bulls is one for the purists at the moment, especially those following the story of Kobe breaking MJ's record to get on the top 3 of the scorers. You can catch all the info on that on Around the Key. That's again Bryant and Hill bringing it all up. Butler and Gasol bringing it in for Chicago. That's going to be a good match to watch. Golden State Warriors against the Clippers. That is literally Steph Curry against Blake Griffin. Go toe to toe, basket for basket. Who can out slam and out jam each other? The game of the day. The Miami Heat, who are sadly missing the departed LeBron James, playing his new team, but they won't just be playing him. Chris Bosh at the moment is injured. He's got a torn Achilles, so he's on the recovery from that. Dwayne Wade is trying to take captaincy in there at the moment at the Heat. He's trying to put them in the right direction, but it's not happening. Bearman Anderson at the moment, he's mainly sitting on the bench, coming in to spell players. That's not where he's best at. He's good on the rebounds, looking for the traffic. You can tell it's a really struggling Miami side, and I hate to say it, but it is going to be the Kevin Love, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving show that day. And if you want to see any glimpse of what they get up to in the NBA All-Star games, watch that one.
Well, that's interesting. So that's your pick of the
That's my pick of the day. If you get a chance to watch that, it's on all the NBA station media things. You can get it on. It's a 5 PM Eastern Time start.
What are the ratings for those games? Because they're obviously going up completely unopposed. Nobody else is playing Christmas Day games.
No, it's astronomical. It's something along the lines of almost like 4 or 5 million people watching it.
What time is that? What time are those games going to be scheduled? Because obviously,
Right, so you've got the first game kicks off Eastern Time at 12 PM, so bang, right after dinner.
So you're talking about 6 over here.
So you're talking about 6. Then 2:30, so about 8:30. 5 PM, so you're talking about what, 11, 12, just midnight for the main event there. 8 PM their time, so about 2 in the morning for us on the the Lakers Chicago one, and then at 4 o'clock in the morning for us, 10:30 for them.
So they're all.
It's
You
literally
can just sit there
back
and just
to
watch.
back. It's a
all
day of basketball.
really,
Wow.
so they're not like all played at basically the same time.
No. The following day, Boxing Day for us, there's 11 games on. You do get some overlapping games there, but no, Christmas Day games are back to back to back to back to back.
That's a real picture there.
That's a real hardcore. Imagine trying to convince your girlfriend you're going to watch the entire day of NBA on Christmas
Have
Day.
you ever seen what's that film with Kurt Russell? And,
Titanic.
No,
The Rockets.
yeah, that's the team he plays for.
Die
Best
Hard.
of times.
Best of times.
Best of times.
And he's eating his dinner and he's
And
trying to watch
they're
the
trying
football.
to get back with their wives. And Robin Williams, God bless him, and Kurt Russell, both from this old high school team, and they're trying to convince their girls to go back with them, but they want to see the game, and it's on. So what they do is, if you can picture it, the dinner table's in one room, but in the other room's the TV, so they position it so that they can see. And it kind of reminds me of that. That's what will be happening on Christmas Day. I would be like that, going, yeah, oh, good hands, oh baby, you got such good hands.
I'll be alright, I can just sit there and just be like...
You know, that's, now you've got that presents off Wonderchop, I don't think you'll be sitting Vicky's going to be punching you all Christmas.
yeah, pretty much.
You'll be like, quit it.
Stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself.
I want to blow my nose with you, so well.
I might as well just start now.
Yeah. It'll become numbing after a while. A little bit like a tattoo.
Or I might wear it down.
Hit the wall with it later.
I think you've got one last question for us as well, Kate.
I have, yes. I'm going going to come to you first.
Okay.
Dave, what is your New Year's resolution? Your Yankin Off New Year's
My Yankin Off New Year's resolution. To do some research would be a change. Or to set up equipment and actually have it work.
Oh,
would
yeah.
be
Oh, referee.
I don't know. Yeah, I suppose make sure all my research is done, because if you have ever listened to Yanking Off old school between you and me and Matt, I'm just sat there just staring at a computer screen trying to desperately look up some interesting facts.
Well, you see me, don't you? On the screen, so you see that I don't do much.
Well, but the thing is,
I have a lot of stuff.
you guys have caught up on all the NFL stuff, and I suppose that would be my New Year's resolution, to catch up on sport during the week.
Well, I don't
Find the time to catch up on it.
I tend to
because
do it just before the show.
Well, just before the show, I'm doing some.
Matt lies here now as a drip fed into him when he's not actually doing any studying. He's like that.
But of course, we don't get to watch many of the NFL Sunday night games, do we? Because we're always out doing our thing. So
Our thing.
So
Yeah.
it's nice to just catch up sometimes and just chill and watch it. So more time away from other stuff to actually enjoy the sport outside of journalism. There you go.
Thank you, Ben.
I'd have to say, be a bit more prepared with Around the Key, making sure it's a high quality show going out. It's only just started, so it is a bit of a learning curve for me. But I will.
Look, you don't know learning curve until you've podcasted with SingStar cups, SingStar mics balanced in cups.
That was my first episode. But no, in all fairness, I want to try and get the guys at the BBL involved a lot more, because it's right on my doorstep. So.
And Wonderchop.
Yes, we Wonderchop.
Hang on.
It's not a good thing.
It's like the Undertaker. His eyes all oh, he's here. He's done it now.
What do you want to know?
This is like an episode of Inside the Actors Studio.
Wonderchop. First, have you been a good boy this year? And what is your Yanking Off New Year's resolution?
My New Year's resolution is for all the killing in the world to stop. What a load of crap. Right, just hang on a minute. I want to know why everybody's been getting presents and I never got none. Was I the only one that robbed a shop?
What do you mean we give you James's rant?
Yeah, that's what you wanted.
Yeah, usually no mind.
Yeah.
Well, it just so happens I've got one thing left in my sack. Oh, yeah. Hang on a minute. Oh, my God. Who's getting that?
A mankini posing pouch. I take it that's yours.
That's for Matt. Matthew. That's your Christmas presents. And we expect a photograph
Yes.
of that. I've even checked it out as well, it does fit. Hang on. Yeah. Take that hair out, you don't want that. Yeah.
Merry Christmas, Scotland.
There are other countries available. If you can get some, Matt.
I suppose what's left for us is a Christmassy money shot.
I suppose it is, yeah.
It is, but
I've got a question for you all, though.
Go on.
I have actually got a question for you all. I know I didn't answer yours, Kate, but mine would be to, seriously, I'd like to see a lot more in the world sorted out, because I just think I'm getting a bit depressed switching the TV on in the mornings now. And that's the honest truth. First thing in the morning when I get up and I get my kids, well, I don't get my kids ready for school, and my father does, but I get up with her, and the first thing she does is she puts a cup of tea by the bedside for me, and I wake up, sit up, and I have a sup of tea, and I'm looking at that TV, normally BBC News, and I'm sick of every morning them sitting there with their smiles on their face. I'm sounding like James now.
highlights from
No,
Yankin Off.
I'm sick of seeing them having to sit there with smiles on their face and present a little happy thing when all it is just more people dying needlessly for stupid reasons. Like that fella in Australia, like the guy that gone in and killed over 90-odd kids today. Well, obviously by the time this podcast goes out, it'll have been a week old, won't it? But you know, just don't see the point. There's too many kids in the world dying needlessly at the hands of others when it can be stopped.
And Wonderchop believes the children of the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we are the world. No, we are also.
Anyway, you
Alright,
had a question.
okay.
You had a question? Come on.
Yeah, the question is, what's your Christmas wish?
Oh, Christmas wish.
I know mine.
Think of it quickly.
Okay, Ben can do his first.
Okay. If I could have one thing for Christmas, I'd have a DeLorean so I could go right back to and start all over again. And with the first ever Bud Spec and the first ever DeLorean.
I can't believe you went the whole show. Nobody mentioned it. He said, I've never done a DeLorean.
I've never done a DeLorean.
I said to him, well, if Dave does it, or I do it, just do it again. And I'll just say, no, you never said it. Because you went back in time. Well done, Ben. Well done.
My Christmas wish is that I'd got a DeLorean.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
On that sad note.
Hang on, what's Kate?
Yeah.
My Christmas wish is that everybody votes Kate for her first
Oh!
Santa.
Who was that DeLorean?
A Christmassy song to send us out on tonight.
Oh, go on.
Courtesy of Bootsy Collins, who's written a Christmas song about Peyton Manning. So we're going to end on this. So what I'll say is, Merry Christmas to everybody, a Happy New Year. Thanks for making 2014 a fantastic year for Yankin Off and BASN. And be sure to join us for 2015 because it's only going to get better from here.
Aye.
That's what the doctor said.
And then she said that too.
I'm Dave and I didn't make a DeLorean reference.
I'm Gary, I need a doctor.
And Ben, I might not even be here.
I'm Kate and I...
Hey, all you kids out there. Holy ho, and a touchdown throw. This is dedicated to the NFL defensive backs. Merry Christmas. He knows if you're a blitz. He sees if it's zone. He knows if it's man. Never wanna go home. He's the man who's passing your way. He's the man who's passing your way. You better watch out. And try not to cry. Try not to cry. I'm telling you why, baby. He's the man who's passing your way. Well, he's the man who's passing your way. He sees film while you're sleeping. He studies while you break.